Hello, this is Malorian, this is the Orc Tactical Team, and still on our series with the new book, and this time we're jumping into the core units, and really just getting, first of all, to just what's going to be the bulk of your troops. So like I keep repeating time and time again, you probably want to decide whether you want to go with Super Elite or with the plain Horde. And now to try to explain that more with the Super Elite, with our Orc Boys now, it's now more of an advantage to go to Savages, and the big gun upgrade is actually 2 points now instead of 4. And what this really comes to is that all of a sudden it becomes very viable to have a Orc and Goblin army that has these Savages that say, let's say, make them big guns, give them the additional hand weapon, and then all of a sudden these guys are having 3 strength 5 attacks on the first round of combat. Their weapon skill 4, so probably hitting with 3s and all these things, probably wounding on 2s depending on what you're up against. And as well, if you have the shrunken head with a shaman in this unit, then all of a sudden they have a 5+ ward. And so this is just a really crazy unit that does so much damage. It's also core and actually has fairly good defense as well. So because of that, a lot of people are looking away from regular boys, but I think people should maybe not be doing that as much. If you look at it, if you make regular Orc boys big guns, now all of a sudden they have the same attacks as the Savage Orcs. They both have 2. However, the Savage Orcs, one of theirs is based on Frenzy, so if they ever lose a combat, that's gone. The other thing is that all of a sudden that boy unit has a better strength, and it has a better weapon skill, and it can gain a magical banner. And I think this is a big thing that people have to keep in mind, is that giving these guys this magic banner can be huge. You know, there's a lot of regen and stuff out there. You can give it a flaming banner. If you're using your BSB for something else, and you want to have this being with the banner of discipline to be boosting up your general or something, great way to do it. And as I said, it was exactly the same points. The only downfall from this is that these guys have a 6+ armor save, whereas the Savages have a 6+ ward save, and there's no synergy with a shrunken head or anything. But apart from that, it's just kind of better. You know, because the strength and the weapon skill and being able to get a magic banner is just so much more. If you push more, because usually they're not going to be looking at it. If you look at Savages that are going to have the additional hand weapons, so also they have another attack. Well, also with the Boar Boys, with the Orc Boys, you know, you can just give them a shield, or you could give them the hand weapon as well. But the nice thing with the shields here is that shields don't work with Savages really well, because first of all, they have no armor save to be starting from, and being that they're frenzied, they can't get parry, so it's stupid. But with the Orc Boys, all of a sudden with these guys, you know, now they have the 5+ save, they have the parry, pretty good stuff, you know, not too bad. So the main thing what I'm trying to say here, where I've been rambling on for 3 minutes, is just that people put a lot into Savage Orcs, but I also think people should be looking into the Orc Boys, because even though on average they went up 1 point, a lot of their gear is now cheaper than it was before, and with them being big guns for so much cheaper and getting that magic banner, it's a huge boost. Now you're going to compare that with going with Horde, which is going with a bunch of goblins, whether they're night goblins or regular goblins. And as I've said in other videos, goblins are actually kind of more useful now, because now they have those skulkers, and the skulkers could either be used for going up and trying to kill off some enemy character, because they have that, you know, armor piercing, always strikes first, killing blow. 3 of them together, I don't want to say any points, could probably easily kill some really good character when you're getting into combat. And as well, when they pop up, they can be pushing your main characters out of combat so that they're safe. So going with a unit of goblins for both the offensive and defensive, I can easily see. And then for night goblins, here, you know, there are a lot of how they were before. You can now get spears for free. Netters got more expensive, which I totally expected, because Netters got so much better as units got bigger, and you had more characters in these units for it to support. Between the two, I'm still liking the Night Goblins better, just because I like having that synergy with the characters. You know, it's kind of nice to have those characters popping back and being invincible. But at the same time, you're going to have to deal with going to tournaments and stuff and people thinking you're cheesy because of using this tactic. Whereas the plain old, you're netted, you can't, you know, my characters are basically +1 toughness. That's plain and simple. Nobody ever seems to really complain about that. And with these as well, when you start adding up the points, the Orc boys, usually, unless you go really big, sometimes have trouble dealing with steadfast, whereas a unit of goblins that have gone for ranks, and then you throw in a couple of characters of great weapons, because they didn't change that. You know, a Night Goblin with a great weapon is still extremely cheap and can really add in the kills. Doing that is super easy, and all of a sudden, you know, they won't have steadfast. You can probably usually beat them unless they're a really strong unit. And they even have less of a footprint, right? These goblins are just going to be the 5 wide of the 20 mil, rather than the orcs being the 10 wide of the 25 mil. So, as you can see here, you know, it really has to decide which way you want to go. Not all of us want to be setting up 200 plus models every single game, or 300 plus, depending on what you're doing. But personally, between the two systems of going Horde or going Elite, I like going Horde. Main reasons: less footprint, it's more reliable. If you ever get hit by a template that kills lots of guys, it's killing weaker models rather than more expensive models. Because they're so much cheaper, you can get these cheap bosses in there. I find the tricks to be a lot better. You know, the skulkers hiding your guys, the necks to protect your characters. And when we're on these tricks, let's go to the Savage Orcs, and they have that new big Staba thing. So basically the thing is that as long as you have at least 2 full ranks and they have a big spear, it gives you impact hits and it does D3 wounds. I wouldn't bother with it, really, unless you're taking it because it looks cool. The problem with this is because of the change to WA, you won't be getting the charges often, and usually you want to be using that thing with the D3 wounds on some sort of monsters, but monsters are typically faster than you, so they'll be charging you, so no impact hits anyway. So as cool as it looks, I would not bother with it. So that's what I'm saying, where the tricks of the goblins are way better than the tricks of the orcs. One more comparison between goblins and night goblins. One of the reasons why I like the night goblins better is because it's just like before, where the standard gear for a goblin is hand weapon, light armor, so a 6+ armor, whereas the goblins have a hand weapon shield, 6+ armor, 6+ parry. It's just better. Plus their initiative is higher, which can help. The regular goblins, their leadership is higher, but again, if you're not within your leadership bubble with this and don't have it supported with some other character that's raising it up anyway, you're doing it wrong anyway. So I'm really saying, what I'm saying here is that between the two systems, going super elite with orcs or going horde with goblins, hordes of goblins is better. Between the two, I'd go with night goblins, except maybe just one unit of the regular goblins that'd be just the perfect spot for you to hide all your key characters, and then also be a good one that can still be at the front to try and kill some of your opponent's best characters. So there we have that part of it. So I'll be right back with a comparison of the wolves to spiders.